Hello, hello, hello. For those watching on YouTube, you always get this awkward beginning as I wait for everybody to load inside. We're going to just tweet this out real quick. We are live. Gonna talk off season. Not the J. Cole. We just wait for it to. Do you speak Spanish, Jacob? Razork is doing a podcast right now on Twitch, and I can't understand what he's saying. I do not speak Spanish. I know Caedrel speaks Spanish, which I was very, very surprised by. Chime Wonder, hey Yamato, I'm recently lying in bed with COVID. Happy to watch Voice of Yamato after watching some Rick and Morty. I hope it will pass, and I hope that the immunity will serve you well, my friend. It seems to be that we are living in a world where everyone is going to have COVID at one point in time, and we're going to establish immunity because it seems just to be unavoidable. But then again, I'm not a doctor. Caedrel is indeed very good with Spanish. I'm good. Good to see you. You can speak Arabic though. Yes. أنا بتقدر أتكلم شوية بالعربي. السلام عليكم. How are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you very much. How funny was Caedrel reacting to his vid talks getting leaked in stream? Yeah, it was pretty funny, huh? It's pretty funny indeed. You know, that's a good place to start, right? Caedrel. What a brilliant man. You know, I don't know Caedrel too well, but every interaction I've had with him has been very pleasant. Very smart guy. You know, he has... we're cut from the same cloth in the essence of, coming from the pro side, moving into the casting side, and, you know, his mentality of how you are and how you have to be in order to compete well at the pro level was shown in his work on the content side and also in his casting. There's just this diligence and this ability to work very hard that you can apply in other avenues, especially where you find passion. And it's very clear that he's passionate about his casting, passionate about his stream, and it has translated very, very well to the community. So for a person like Caedrel, you know, when he has to make a decision, you know, it's very important to keep as many doors open as possible. And I respect the idea of, this commitment he's made to his casting, and by the time he's finished with it, he wants to feel really finished. You know, for me, when I chose to move out of casting, I didn't feel super passionate about it. I felt like I was missing the element of competition and the element of me pushing myself. I think I felt like there was too much politics involved in being in the LEC, and I didn't like that too much. I didn't like how my contract was being managed and so forth, and I felt, you know, I wanted to work in an environment that really, really pushed me to my limits. And you find that wherever you find passion. So, respect to Caedrel, I thought, if he does choose not to coach now, I think those opportunities will also show up later down the line, because, you know, people talk, and I know that coaches are very sought after. You know, it's like it's like in a world where, you know, I would be under no contract. You know, the piranhas come. You know, no. God bless Caedrel. Today I wanted to just talk about off-season, some issues, you know, that you run into off-season. Everyone, like, there's this common trend where people think and people say that this off-season's been fucked up. And, you know, we could just scroll down to the list of, we could scroll down to the list of players that are not signed. And there's some craziness here already, right? There's some craziness already. I think there's an element of salaries have gone too far in terms of what the return is, and also contracts are not written favorably towards players, which cause very strange situations for players across the board. I feel like now with the new agencies, some of the new agencies are coming into the picture, are doing a much better job, and they are, setting up the players for success in the future. But I feel like some of the players' salaries as well for some of the old school players has definitely like caught up. So it seems like more orgs are leaning towards cheaper options, like players that don't have any options at all. Because, naturally, for any person, the salary progression throughout your career should be upwards, right? To go down is, a tough reality check, right? It's a very tough reality check. And with that in mind, it seems like this offseason has kind of blown it up, right? The biggest surprise for me of the player that is not signed is, I think these names here, Jiizuké and Jensen. I think Jensen is in a more, is in a very strange position, with all the rumors that flew around. Jensen is a man that can easily apply pressure to the community by just playing the game of, streaming and making himself very visible. Because this is a player that is going to be a resident, and Jensen's going to be well off. Jensen, when you keep players like this on contract, it always puts everything into question. And it's not like Tio's move is not understandable, because Bjergsen is such a big name that really brings a lot of eyeballs to your project. Jensen is a phenomenal player, and I think his World Championship run was super good. I think, it was the same thing, right? Nemesis went over to Korea, and there is an opportunity in being a big name and being able to stream, because the voice of the community is a little bit more powerful than I would like it to be. It is strange how the opinion of fans matters, but it does. It really does. And Nemesis had the opportunity, right, to stream during all of that time where players, the big streamers that are on teams like Yankos, Caps, or whatever, these players can stream during the season, so it becomes a lot more difficult, for them to keep up, right? And then there was, of course, Nemesis. His opinion, the opinion of the community for Nemesis went through the roof, because he is allowed to expose himself so much to the viewership, right, during the actual season. So I think there's an opportunity there for a player like Jensen to actively stream and to showcase his ability and to leverage that public opinion about him in order to put that pressure on the teams. It also helps a lot that Jensen is actually like a really strong player, and is a player that is going to secure, that he's a resident in North America, which is super huge too, right? And then, of course, Jiizuké, I keep pressing this away. Jiizuké is also a crazy one. Like Jiizuké, I knew that Jiizuké has been misunderstood for a very long time, right? It's like, I believe League of Legends is a game where every player has an opportunity to express themselves because the game isn't figured out. There's a lot of different ideas that can show themselves within the game in terms of how you play in different metas and how you perceive the game. There's an element of freedom in the game that allows you to just express yourself. And Jiizuké does that beautifully. Jiizuké is not a player that you cage in. Jiizuké is the type of player, in a similar fashion to Hilly, where depending on your conditions within your team, the idea of how you're going to basically how you're going to win a game is going to change. Sometimes people say, yo, Jiizuké, Hilly, they're inting, right? They're inting. But in reality, they are making a very strong argument for why their decision could be a winning decision in the context of what players they have, the mentality of the players that they have, and also the knowledge they have in the game. Sometimes a waiting game can be a losing game, and it's about making the best out of the odds that you have in the game. Chat box is supposed to be visible, but I don't know why it's not working. Properties, visual settings, chatter. I'm not sure why the chat is not working. No idea. There it is. And Jiizuké is just that, right? I believe Jiizuké finally had some teammates that he could rely on, and he had a good roster. And Jiizuké did very well in summer. Like, EG was dominating for the majority of summer, and it's very surprising to me that Jiizuké didn't find a home. Someone asked me if we considered Jiizuké for top lane, and yeah, you know, as an organization, we have to consider all options, right? It's just the nature of the business. You always have to actively think about any potential options, and I believe, you know, from the point of view as a league spectator and a league enjoyer, not from the point of view of Fnatic, is that Jiizuké would indeed be a fantastic top laner. Like the elements that come to mind when it comes to a top laner is a precision in laning, understanding of how to leverage jungle and how to not get fucked by jungle, and at the same time being able to find ways to be very impactful in the game mid to late game. Right? Being able to drive a game. Yo, I'm going to push this side lane, hover into mid. We're going to take the mid prior, put down vision, and then I want you guys to hover so I can push top all the way. Then we're going to group. Right? That level of commandment is important for solo laners. So these are Jiizuké's strong points. But nevertheless, for me, always what I tell players that are close to me that feel cheated in an off-season, because that can definitely occur. Many people get cheated in an off-season, and they are there left with opportunities, and they look across and they think, yo, this guy, I'm better than him. He has an opportunity he doesn't deserve. That happens. But that's just life, right? There's so many things that are outside of our control. We can only focus on the things that are in our control. Eventually, there's this quote that I love. Luck is where opportunity and preparation meets. You got to keep working hard. You got to keep preparing yourself for that moment in time when you are in that team, when you have that opportunity, and you got to seize it and you got to run with it. That's what makes esports so dangerous and exhausting, is because everything can change, both in-game. You could be a master of the game and then it changes 1 week later, and then maybe you struggle to figure it out. That is something that is very frustrating to deal with. And then on top of that, right, I lost my train of thought actually. Eventually, you know, you're going to be surrounded by like-minded individuals, and eventually it will pay off big. But what is so strange to me is that I thought all of the things that Jiizuké went through, like that first year on EG when they put him in a cage with the coaching staff that completely misunderstood him. I thought finally with Peter Dunn in the picture that things would get better. And in summer, impacting him, they smurfed it, you know, they absolutely smurfed it. And I thought finally this is the redemption arc of Jiizuké. People are going to see glimpses of what I see in Jiizuké. and I thought it's going to go a very, very long way. And yeah, turns out it didn't. But genuinely, you gotta have a little bit of luck. Like, let's say I'm a top laner, and then all of a sudden there's 10 new insane top lanes coming out from academy that just turned 17. Like, I don't have any control over that. Maybe I'm playing a role where there is, like, right now as a coach, I'm quite fortunate, right? Because look at the coaching scene. It's pretty slim, right? It's pretty slim. But I know that the people are coming because that's just the nature of the job. You know, I need to keep improving myself. I need to keep working hard. I need to seize whatever opportunity I have and make the absolute best out of it to translate that into the next opportunity, I grabbed something and I never let go. Yo, Soaz, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Soaz, straight up gangster. Speaking of people that are not signed. Soaz. What a gangster, man. Imagine, you know, wait, they didn't even put Soaz in the elite tier. What a scam. Why did they put him over here? What is this box? Oh, it's LCS and LEC. Never mind. It's like separated. I just got so confused. I just got so confused because, like, fucking Jensen, Jiizuké, like, there's some names in here that are European. So I didn't think there was a separation. All right. No, Soaz is straight up gangster, man. You know, Soaz is a part of the group of players that, you know, shaped the way the game is being played today. You know, I played against Soaz back in season 2. Like, I remember when he was on AAA and he was playing Nidalee top, and Linak was coming with his Udyr, and I was getting Dove level 2, 3, and I was like, what the fuck is this, man? This is League of Legends right here, man. And I needed to just rethink how I view the whole game, you know? Which is absolutely crazy, right? Absolutely nutty. But anyhow, this offseason brought some new names, some new ideas. You know, I think there's a lot of teams with GMs out there that don't necessarily understand the game so well, and they are building teams off of hype and the opinions of others. And I think that can be quite dangerous too. But a big shout out to Soaz. You know, he's one of the OG gangsters, for sure he is. I love that Jessis is also here on the support role. That's hilarious to me. Vijichachi as well, one of the OG gangsters. In regards to everybody else, you know, on my end, like there's a name floating around that I don't feel comfortable just yet talking about because I'd like to wait until things are finalized. You know, here we're using this document or this page from Reddit to justify me talking about it, so I can just talk based off of the information that I see here, right? I don't want to talk beyond that because, of course, I have information that I have, like I have information here that shouldn't come from me. So there's certain things that if you notice I'm not addressing, it's for a good reason, and in the end, you know, it is what it is. Leader is another homie of ours, right? Leader, what you up to, man? Is there any news on your side, or? Talk to us, leader. Promoted to manager, yeah. You're gonna do the McDonald's runs, huh? I hope things get figured out for you, man. I have this silly thing. I made a soundboard. I'm gonna check if it works. Can you guys hear this? Did you guys hear this?
Bruh. 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 Bruh.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
Yamato went back in time. Yes. All right. 1982 soundboard feels good, man. Is it cold in there? Is the hood for style points? Yeah, it's a bit cold, honestly. It's a bit cold. Anyhow, yeah, a lot of GMs, I would say, are kind of lost to know. It's just, I believe it's an element of prices going amok and people having wrong opinions about how people are valued. And at the same time, I believe GMs just don't see value while it's in front of them. It's just the case, right? We've seen some crazy signings and just some names that they are not in teams is also just, it's just mental to me. Nevertheless, let's take a look at some of these rosters, all right? So everything here is just, I don't know if it's confirmed or not confirmed. It is what it is, right? And the curious thing always about players and about anyone in general is how, like when you see roster transfers, you see super teams built and you're trying to place a player from one team and you try to translate that performance from that team into a different team, you have to understand you know, that people react differently depending on the environment that they are in. A player can be fantastic in one environment and a lot worse in a different one. And that's why you need to really cherish the players that create environments. They build environments by their own hands. Strong enough players that no matter where they go, there is a standard set for these type of players. There are plenty of teams where they've won something, but then those players are placed in other teams and they won't win ever again, right? And I don't want to throw names out there, but I'm sure you guys can figure it out. There are certain players that only win in winning teams, and when they're outside of that environment, they are not that impressive. And it's not to talk shit about those players either, right? Because sometimes those players are necessary too. Adaptable players that follow along on a journey, right? But I say this to celebrate players that have that longevity, that are really, really good and have a very high level, right? Guys, Rekkles is really not a good example. Is really not a good example, I think, because even in G2's down year, to blame that solely on Rekkles is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Rekkles was competing on a very good level. And just because a lot of things went wrong for G2 doesn't mean that you can blame that all on Rekkles, because he was the one abstract change. Perks leaves very big shoes to fill, and often when you have a team working together for that long, it's very rare. It's very rare in esports that teams stick together. Very rare that teams stick together for as long as G2 did, right? 2019 together, 2020 together, and 2021 they made one change, but the dynamic remained similar. Same coach, right? Grabs with the addition of Nelson, and then 4 players and then Rekkles, right? And sometimes you can have 5 fantastic players and the dynamic has run its course. They all need a change of pace. Similar thing happened to us in Splice. We managed to get to the World Championship, and then coming into the next year, we had this hopium copium that we would be able to be even better coming into the next year, but the dynamic had run its course. And when I was there in spring, between spring and summer, when I left for my position and we amicably just exited the contract, it just made the most sense to me, because we made the best out of that situation and we reached our peak. G2's roster, I feel that dynamic had reached its peak, so they had to make some changes. And it's unfair to apply that blame to anyone specifically. Splice is what now? Splice is now Mad Lions. I think it's very ridiculous to think that any player that was on G2 in 2021 is bad. That's ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. Very strong players. So when I was talking about players that were on a winning team and aren't necessarily the driving force behind that team was winning, you can think a little bit deeper about this, right? Think a little bit deeper about this. It's more historic. It's a lot more historic than that, right? But instead of putting a negative spin on this, we put the positive spin on it. We put the positive spin. There are players that are catalysts for success. Hylissang is a great example, right? Hylissang is a fantastic example because Unicorns of Love was very competitive with Hilly. Very competitive with Hilly. Hilly just has a very strong drive in game, right? Oof. Hilly is a powerful force. And then, of course, in Fnatic 2, very powerful force. Perks, powerful force. This man, he was in G2 for that long, and then he went over to C9, and Vitality. Even though there's question marks around that roster, there's an excitement around any team that has the player that is called Perks. And there is definitely more players like that. And those players should be celebrated. But the reason I brought up this topic is because in all of this, when we're looking at these rosters, right? So, for example, let's look at TSM's rumored roster. Huni, I think, fantastic player. I get surprised every time people talk bad about him. But I think this guy is pretty damn good. I think Spica was, from the few games that I watched in North America, I was genuinely impressed by Spica. He seemed like the one chicken with its head on in a lot of the games where I saw TSM play in the regular season. It's like, this is the chicken with the head, and then everyone else is a headless chicken, and this guy just did a lot of correct decisions. Take Over, not sure. It's a good song, Taking Over. Tactical, I from my impression, from what I saw, I was kind of underwhelmed by his performance last year, but I thought that his breakout year was definitely like very positive. When he came in and took double lift spots, I felt like, wow, this is a pretty decent player. Like he he came into the world, you know, playing like with Code JJ, with they were playing Raka on Twitch, they were doing like decent things and so forth. Like it was interesting, right? But in the context of what I brought up before, like always with how people react to certain environments, now with the question marks surrounding TSM's environment, you know, maybe players perform worse, maybe players perform better under such an environment, right? It's always of a question of how do certain players react in certain situations. Mickey, of course, to tie in the conversation before, like Mickey is a fantastic player. He's going to find success wherever he goes, but he doesn't have as strong as personality as Perks. That's why to me, you know, Mickey and Perks was the perfect bowling, because Perks very strong personality, Mickey is very adaptable, very adaptable. Nevertheless, TSM, I think this is, you know, already that you have Mickey and Speaker Huni, like that already is, you know, that's a recipe for fisting, you know, and tactical if he can regain his form. Interesting. Chowie as well, like this was announced or rumored to be announced the other day, and Chowie is a fucking legend. This guy, this guy has probably a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge, and that's pretty sick. It's funny how people are unhappy with Yannick Humanoid when that guy just won LEC twice and was best in the LEC. People are unhappy about the humanoid rumor. Nevertheless, let's move on. C9, LCK9, LC9K. I don't know how people want to do the abbreviation. Summit. So Summit is a beast. Fnatic Reddit is a goldmine. It really is. Bro, anything I post on Fnatic Reddit gets deleted. I don't know why. It gets deleted for some reason, which is insanity. Nevertheless, Summit, brilliant player. Like mechanically, he's the guy I would be like, you know, Summit, very strong mechanical player, very strong 1v1 laner. In terms of like carrying games and driving games, I think he could be a little bit better. This would be like, if anything, this would potentially be his weakness. But his team fighting is very fucking strong. Mechanics very fucking strong. Lane understanding really, really fucking strong. Like he's a super hard worker and brilliant pickup. Really, really good pickup. Like Summit is a really good player. But once again, to tie it into the previous conversation, the curious thing will be, how does Summit adapt to North America? A lot of players go to North America, play worse there, right? They play worse there due to, you know, the circumstances being a lot tougher. It's the same. When we were in Vitality, we brought over Mowgli. Mowgli was very successful in Africa, was a very strong player in Africa, right? Had fantastic games. His level was fantastic. We couldn't translate his performance that he had in Africa Freaks in Vitality due to not paying close enough attention to what actually made him good in the previous environment. And that can be social, that can be, you know, living arrangement, that can also be game wise, right? Like over in Africa, he was sitting between Kuro and I'm trying to think what top laner they had. Not Maron. Keen. He was playing. It's sitting between Kuro and Keen, and he had Spirit right behind him, you know, supporting him. So he had, you know, these figures that showed him a very strong example, right? So we couldn't translate the performance he had in Africa super well to the performance that we wanted him to have in Vitality, right? And that's a learning process. That's definitely like a learning process. And that's going to be always the challenge. I think Blabber, brilliant player. I think Blabber and Speaker, really good players. Like these are two players that I would genuinely consider, yo, you want to come to Europe at some point? and play with the big dogs. These are like NA import level players that can come over to Europe at some point. Because honestly, the jungle position is quite slim in the West. Quite slim. Like Bwipo came in, he rolls up to jungle and dominated. But he fucking dominated. Which, of course, credit to Bwipo. Fucking Bwipo is a fucking insane player. Credit to Bwipo. But still, says a little bit about the jungle situation, right? Like Blabber Speaker, definitely could be players that go. Fudge mid lane, interesting. I don't know what to think of this. I don't know enough about Fudge. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his games. This is gonna require a lot of fucking hard work. A lot of fucking hard work. I don't know how this is gonna pan out. Right? Berserker / Sven, Winsome, Isles, and then LS Reign over Westrise. So there's it's like this could be a bottle, lightning in a bottle or dynamite in a bottle. This can be something gorgeous, but there's a lot of what ifs here, right? From a potential standpoint, I don't know what the fuck I just did. I'm gonna just repress this. From a potential standpoint, the C9 roster looks like it has potential, but a lot of things can go wrong here, right? Like in terms of transitioning your life from Korea to North America, probably historically C9 has been one of the better teams at translating that performance, right? Often players come to C9, they perform really fucking well, and then they go to other teams, perform worse. That's like a common trend. So C9 as an organization, from an outside perspective, it seems like they have, some stuff figured out. And I'm curious to see if the LS thing actually pans out, because that's going to also be a big change of pace. There's going to be so much pressure on LS because he's been a very not controversial, but maybe controversial. Like it sounds like such a negative word, but he's very engaged in his opinions, and this is going to put everything to the test. Like he's putting his reputation on the line, and there's a lot of pressure on him for his team to succeed, and with that can come a lot of frustration, and that can be a very difficult challenge to overcome. Because I know from what I've seen, once again, outside perspective, it seems like LS, of course, cares about the public perception and the conversation that happens in the game, right? But nevertheless, Summit, Blabber, already, fucking, that's going to be super cool. This roster has potential. I don't know enough about Fudge. I don't know too much about the supports that they are planning to pick up. Berserker neither. But C9 is the type of structure to seem to be able to piece it together when they welcome in new players, right? So all in all, I think that team has potential. It's going to be fun to watch. But I hope if LS goes down the line of coaching, that it will only be about the team and only about the players, right? Because it's very natural to look at this and the focus will be LS Lul, draft Lul, But I hope that if he's in a position that he coaches this, that the main focus will be the success of the players. And that will be very challenging because a lot of eyes will be on that team. All right. Team Liquid. Ooh, mama. That's a roster. Fnatic. Fnatic Bwipo. Like he's a player that has, of course, also what I wanted to point out, like I know Summit, and I would imagine that like Summit and LS as like in terms of game ideas might clash a little bit, but clashes can be good. Clashes don't have to be bad. I was talking earlier about players that that are driving forces and they make teams succeed, and those players are the elite players, right? Those are the players you want to have on teams, and Bupo is one of them. Bjergsen is one of them. KCORP is one of them. No shame to anyone. The other players, they are also strong players, but Bjergsen, KCORP, Bupo, they are engines. This is gonna be exciting. Everyone talks about always in the conversation of rosters, like, yeah, resources, they have 3 players that want jungle attention. No one ever thinks like this. No one ever thinks like this, guys. It's such a shit way of viewing things. It's like, yeah, they're bringing in this player that needs jungle attention, but the jungle always passes into bots. How are they ever gonna solve it? No. This is such a shit way of viewing the game. It's just so surface level. Like, I've never come across players that actually think like this. Never ever. I've seen players that think like this, but they're often just bad. They're often just bad then. It's like, yeah, we should bat top. It's like, you just say that before we know the draft, before we know the enemy draft? No. You want to have a team that is very flexible and has opportunities everywhere. That's how you have to view it, right? No, it's like, yeah, this team only passes into bot. You have a problem already, right? It's a weakness. It's a strength and a weakness. Weakness in the sense that you're predictable and sometimes your draft forces you to do something different. It's strength in the sense that maybe you are a master of few instead of many. But nevertheless, you want to have players that are problem solvers, and the elite players are problem solvers, you know? Hansama had a fantastic year last year, and TL for sure on paper looks like the strongest team. And they needed a coach, to bring them together, truly, Because in the end, these are guys that don't need to be taught how to play the game. They need someone that can bring them together. And I think Jiizuké is an interesting signing. That's cool. 100 Thieves, cool that they keep the same roster. I think that's pretty sick. And they added Mithy. Oof. Mithy is a brilliant guy to add to any team, man. This guy has a lot of fucking game knowledge, and in the right environment is just... Fuck, what the fuck did I just do? There we go. In the right environments can always be used for good. He's a problem solver. Someday did better and better at the World Championship. I thought he was underperforming during the regular split. Tenacity had a good run during his solo queue hours over here in Europe. Good for him. I think this is a very stable roster. Good. EG. Impact, a really fucking good player. I like Impact. Inspired, I am not sure how this will work. Like, Inspired is one of those guys that definitely, functions super good under some specific conditions. So I'm excited to see how Inspired functions when he doesn't have those same conditions, because he found that success on Rogue. And Rogue gave him something very specific. They gave him something very specific. And we will see how Inspired acts to a completely different environment. It's like in EG, like in Rogue, the team was waiting for Inspired's timers and playing for him. And Inspired was very good at utilizing those windows. It's like, oh, the enemy showed bot. I'm going to take 3 camps here. We're very well aware of the enemy, camp situation. And he was very good at squeezing leads. This was something that Inspired did super well. But then you look at the series against us, right? When he maybe needed to be a different player, and then he wasn't looking too exciting. But that's maybe just the nature of the jungle position. I'm just excited to see how Inspired functions in a different team. Just as, you know, the thought experiment was always there. It's like, how would Inspired function in a different team? Is he going to find ways to look just as good? But maybe that's just a problem of League of Legends in general, that it's tough. It's easy to look good when you're winning, and it's tough to look good when you're losing, right? So we'll have to just pay attention and see. Jojo Pune, not so sure here. Like, this is going to be interesting because Jiizuké brought something very important to EG. Like, he brought something very important to EG, and that was volatility that drove away attention from the weaknesses on the map. And can Jojo Pune do the same? I'm not sure. I haven't watched any of his games. I think Danny wasn't ever like the greatest laner. We'll have to see how that functions together with Vulcan. Like, Danny had some pop-off moments on Trist, but for me, what brought EG to life was fucking Jiizuké being an absolute machine. So I believe they need to find ways to find teeth again, because I really believe that Jiizuké was the main driving force behind EG's success in summer. So let's see if Jojo is gonna do good here. Let's see. GGS, Licorice, Lost. Now this is gonna be interesting, right? Like, a player like Lost, with all the drama of TSM, how is he gonna be just much greater? Is he going to be much greater? Like, his name is just brilliant. His name was truly, it's just gonna be gorgeous. GG Lost, like, it's just gorgeous. But this is another one of those situations where I'm excited to see Lost in a different environment. How is he going to function in a team where there's less big names? There's going to be, less of a pressure on him. It's interesting to see how Lost is going to, function under a different environment, right? But all in all, GGS. I don't think this is a strong enough team to do any damage, so I'm not going to linger around too long. Honser, Jose Deodorante, Tukui, Maballs, or whatever his name is, Jonsun, Aframu. A decent team, serviceable. I think this is a decent looking team. Tukui is like a justifiable signing from the information that is publicly available, right? COG, it seems like they made a complete revamp. I don't know too much about these players besides contracts. Any contracts showed, some moments of goodness. I can tell you guys, I will tell you guys a lot more about the Fnatic off-season when the time is right. So I know people are speculating about why the off-season went a certain way, or what were the options and so forth. But I will tell you guys everything when everything is announced. So just hold on tight, because people are speculating, and they're speculating very wrong. And, it is what it is. I'm just making that note out there. Okay, so I don't know too much about these players. God bless COG, they got Bud Light aced, and they are trying to do something else. IMT, Revenge, Xerxes, Power of Evil, Wild Turtle, Destiny. I don't know, it's just weird to me, because there's a line where I would rather not know than know. Because clearly, right, from the get-go, we know already that Team Liquid is going to compete, is going to be stronger than everybody, right? 100 Thieves are carrying on from what they have from last year, which is good. So 100 Thieves will be up there almost certainly, right? They added Mithy. Most likely we can assume they're going to continue down the same line. So I have TL first, 100 Thieves second, and the C9 for me is third due to the potential that they have here, right? Due to the potential. Things can go very right or very wrong, right? And then for me, the fourth is TSM, Miki, Speaker, Huni. Those are like fucking good players. And then for me, EG probably fifth. And then everything else is not exciting enough for me to like even begin to imagine them causing any type of damage to this structure, right? To the structure that we just mentioned. So TL first, second 100 Thieves, C9 fourth, TSM fifth, EG, TL first would be the if I made a tier list from judging, right? And of course I say this with not knowing too much about certain names here on this list. TL first, 100 Thieves second, C9 third, C9 lightning in a bottle or dynamite in the bottle. I can see this going great or go absolute apeshit. And then we have TSM fourth, EG fifth, and then probably if I would have to choose a sixth based off what I'm seeing here, I would probably put maybe FlyQuest. It's an interesting mixture here, I'd say, on FlyQuest. And then the rest, it just the point I wanted to make is just the rest doesn't give me, the feeling, this is gonna be a team that could potentially challenge it. I'd rather not know. I'd rather not know. It's like if I don't know the names, at least I can be like, maybe I don't know something here and maybe something crazy can happen. But if I know the names and I'm like, they're gonna do damage, it's like, what are we doing here? So that's enough for LCS. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see here. G2. G2. So their rumored roster, it's kind of weird how they are showing like the second league as well. Like it makes it very confusing. So the rumored roster for G2, of course, in the context of the staff that is being signed and the top laner that is being signed, maybe they know something I don't know. But in a world where top lane, I believe, was kind of in shambles last year when you look at the West, that is a great opportunity for a lot of top laners to cement themselves as the best one coming into the next year. And maybe Broken Blade can be in that conversation. But some of the things that I saw, just based on the things that I saw in the regular season matches, it wasn't enough to excite me super much about Broken Blade. But then again, he was on a losing team, and it is a tough position to be in. I understand that G2 went through a lot of tryouts, and of course, Dylan Falco got to work with him, so they are, privy to a lot more information than I am. But all in all, top lane is up for grabs. Genuinely, it's up for grabs. So Broken Blade definitely will be in contention for that. Any team with Jankos and Caps is going to be competing. It's just how it is. These two players can win games on their own. There is nothing else about it. And I like to believe that Jankos, Caps, Dylan Falco even, they're going to surround themselves with players that are actually good, you know? So that gives me a lot of benefit of the doubt over the things that I don't know. But I think G2 roster will definitely be competitive, you know? Pentagramas is good. Flactors, I don't know too much about. So obviously in my position, it's like I have Hilly and Upset signed. I'm not gonna look too hard into AD carries and supports like this. Why would I? I have insane players. Nevertheless, we move on. Vitality. So Vitality rumored roster is Alfari, Selfmade, Perks, Karzi, and Labrov. So Labrov is, I think, is a decent player. I think he has shown, you know, good mechanics. I think strong mechanics and good understanding of where he needs to be on the map. I think that's good. I believe him together with Crowny was not really something that worked well. I don't think they were ever like strong. I think they were like a liability, and whenever you're not laning well, a lot of the other things that you're doing are not gonna show up great. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for Lavrov to really spread his wings, you know, because in terms of game sense, from what I've seen, Lavrov seems pretty decent. But I wouldn't put him on the same level as Mickey, Hilly, and Kaiser. I think Mickey, Hilly, Kaiser are on a tier of their own, for sure. Alfari, strong player. Self-made, strong player. Perks, very strong player. And then Karzi, you know, it's always going to be so fun, you know, because Karzi has this great opportunity to cement himself as a very strong, like always when groups split apart, like for example with G2 after 2020 moving into 2021, Perks went away from G2, and if Perks finds success and G2 do not, it just makes Perks look so damn good, doesn't it? It just makes Perks look so damn good. In reality, we can't know. We can't know how G2 would have been if Perks continued. We don't know how the year would look like. No clue. We can assume it would have been better. But always when you have like a winning team split up, you always look at, oh, what was the driving force behind that team? So this is a great opportunity for Kazi, right? If the rumors are true, it's a great opportunity for Kazi to be like, yo, I was the reason. Because in my mind, as a spectator of Mad Lions, the two players that stood out to me the most every time I watched them was Kaiser and Humanoid. And then third, it would be Alioya. And the other players seemed replaceable. I say seemed because I don't have all the information. And this is Kaz's opportunity to be, yo, I'm gonna shit on Mad Lions. You know? That's Kaz's opportunity here. And that's exciting. Very exciting. So all in all, this is a roster that has definitely, good potential. I would say that the coaching staff is going to have a lot of work here. But Perks, when you hire Perks, it's like you get a little piece of a coaching staff too, you know? This is a team that definitely is going to go playoffs. So, God bless them. I think all of these players could compete for title spots, you know. It's like you look at the roster and the unit of measurement is like how easy is it to imagine such a team lifting a trophy, you know, with the players they have. And it starts with the individuals, right? Starts with the individuals and then it moves to the whole picture, right? And with that in mind, you know, this is definitely a team that can be at the caliber of, you know, competing for top positions. Mad Lions, you know, the big change here is going to be Rika, right? Rika, interesting player. I watched plenty of his games. I think this is a player that definitely belongs in the LEC. Big shoes to fill, right? Going in after Humanoid and being in a position where you need to carry on, you know, what Humanoid did in the team, which is going to be very difficult. Because the key thing is, always when you see players play, like I could play a game in Plat and look like Faker, right? Because contextually it's a lot easier for me to perform at a really fucking high level if I play against worse players. A lot easier. I could be playing on my Smurf and look like I am the second coming of God. Oh my goodness, YamatoCannon. Playing Yasuo. Playing Yasuo, right? Playing Yasuo. Choo, choo, choo. I could look like Faker, you know? And I say this because being really fucking good against really fucking good players is much harder than it seems. Much harder than it seems. So to recreate something like that Humanoid did is a lot more difficult because the level is on average much higher, right? Why are you so sure Humanoid left? I'm not sure. I am simply using this Reddit document and using it for a purpose of discussion. Like if one of these teams, like for example, instead of Hit It, there would be like YamatoCannon top lane here, we would still discuss the potential of that team as an unbiased viewer, right? We are just looking at it as an unbiased viewer. That is all. So in my mind, I feel like this is the biggest change for Mad Lions. Riker is a strong potential player. I think he belongs in the LEC. But joining a team that has won back-to-back splits and the expectation is that they carry on at that same level is going to be a tough task for our friend Riker. Thank you very much for your subscriptions, my friends. Nevertheless, we move on. Misfits. Hirit, Zlatan, Veteo, Neon, Vander. So I believe Neon and Kobe are of a similar level based on what I've seen. I think Razork was a big reason for the successes of Misfits. Definitely. I think Zlatan has shown a lot of good things in the ERL for sure. So I think it was like natural for him to be the next player that goes up in the jungle position. I'd say, you know, together with maybe Syncroft. All in all, I think Misfits are fielding a serviceable roster, but I say that with the caveat that I believe last year, or this year, in fact, they overperformed. They overperformed and they managed to snag a lot of victories from the jaw of death. Like, we lost 2 games against Misfits when we were like 5-6k goal behind. Not because they were some brilliant, you know, late game players, it's just that we completely griefed it. Right? And same thing G2, we just fucking just gave away the fucking Elder Dragon. Like, there was so many, like, it's just the nature of best of ones, right? Shit happens. So I think Misfits definitely overperformed. I think this is a roster that might perform at a similar level. I don't think they've made like big enough changes to be like, wow, to be like, you know. We used the soundboard for the first time. All right. Okay. Rogue. You know, Malrang is probably the thing that stands out the most here, right? I think Comp fits the bill of a player that, you know, together with Trimby is going to be, you know, strong for lane. You know, it's going to try to continue the legacy that Hansama would leave behind if he leaves. Malrang, I think if you import in certain positions, like if you want to import to Western League right now, I think the positions that make sense is jungle and probably top lane. So Malrang coming in, you know, he had some decent games on that one. You know, is he as good as Canyon? No. I think that's pretty fair to say that he's not as good as Canyon, because Canyon is a bit of, you know, Canyon he's walking as he has 3 legs. You know, this man is a machine. But all in all, I'd say that on paper, Rogue definitely look like they've downgraded, right? I think Hansama did a lot of fucking heavy lifting on that team. BDS, this seems to be, you know, a very curious experiment. Very interesting experiment here, because there's always been that question: how good would the top ERL teams be against the LEC teams? And now we're going to find out. This is, you know, Grabs is doing this project with players that he can mold, you know. It's going to be interesting to pay attention to, but I'll have to see a lot before I will believe that they can cause serious damage to any of the top rosters here on the table. I'd have to see more. A lot more. The funny thing is, you know, always when it comes to teams that go full rookie, usually the best players in those lineups get picked up by, you know, bigger sharks. XL, I believe that the addition of Finn should be an upgrade, but they share a similar element of like Kryze and Finn are both like eccentric in the sense that they play some weird ass shit. And in a world where the meta is not set yet, I think, yeah, it's interesting to have a little bit of a wild card. I think the key thing for XL is the fact that they're going to play a full year with Marcoon and Advian. Advian sounds like some painkiller med that you get on American advertisement where like, it's like, I can finally lift my child again. I can finally go on bike rides with my wife. And then in the end, it's like, you may experience headaches and puking and loss of toes. Viewer discretion be advised, you know? Advian. Grab your dad by the balls and tell him that you love him.com. For further information, please contact your licensed physician. But anyway, I think XL, the biggest advantage they're going to have is not necessarily roster-wise, but the fact that they get to play together with the same roster for longer, which allows them to figure out a lot more. They went into the split, picked up a couple of wins because they held on to what worked for Advian and Marcoon, but eventually people figured them out, and that was, you know, Them just being the victims of time, I believe. SK Gilius. Now, Gilius is a man that makes teams. You know, when Schalke made the miracle run, before they made it, I said, if there's ever going to be a player that makes such a run possible, it is Gilius. Because this man, his sweat is confident. And that is powerful. It's infectious, in fact. And with the experience that Gilius has gathered over the years, you could see that he's maturing more and more as a player. And as a person that has worked with him, right, in Vitality, that is very fun to see. Very fun to see. So this team right here treats Gilius, Genax, some decent players. Certus and Jesu, I would have to see more of. I would just have to see more of. Astralis, Christian Dior, Mr. Fanatic Dior, Fast Track to LEC, Christian Dior, Mr. Pop Smoke himself, Dior 25, hopping in to play in the LEC so quickly. You know, this man, if he continues with the same trajectory, you know, God bless his soul, he can maybe do some damage. I think that the players that stand out to me the most in this team is actually White Knight and Zanzara. These are good players. Studying them and preparing for matches, I believe that White Knight has really, really good fucking fundamentals when it comes to the game. A really solid player. And Zanzara, also underrated player. You know, maybe Zanzara in a world where fucking, you know, if the meta is like Kindred, Nidalee or something, I don't know. Maybe there's some champions, maybe he doesn't know how to play too well. But maybe not. Maybe it's just not things that he hasn't shown. Like, bro, I was just fucking waiting for him to lock in Fiddlesticks. Why didn't he ever pick Fiddlesticks, man? I was always worried about this Fiddlesticks. Skarner. It's just, you know, sometimes you play League of Legends, right? And you play, and then you realize at one point in the game, he did versus us, there you go. You guys got... I remember thinking, when he locked it in the first time, I was like, thank Allah that he didn't pick it against us, because I CBA this champ. You know, there's sometimes you play League, right? You play solo queue, you're playing the game, you solo kill the enemy, solo kill again, you dive bot, and then eventually you reach a point in the game, it's like, what the fuck? We actually can't play the game. What the fuck is this? And it's like some fucking circus zoo champs. It's like enemy has like Poppy, Trundle, Heimerdinger, Fiddlesticks, Anivia, like a bunch of like disgusting crap. And you're like, holy shit, I can't fucking play the game anymore. And sometimes this man picks champs like that. It's like complete cockblock champs. But nevertheless, apparently Leader tells me now that he was griefing. He was griefing on Fiddlesticks. So maybe he was just holding back because he knew. But you guys have definitely been in those games where the enemy team has some Mickey Mouse circus fucking Disney XD plus on Disney Channel. You know, it's like a composition you've never seen. It's a madness. It was for our playoffs for last game with Split. I see. When it goes playoff. Was that the game Selfmade played Zinzao and was like turbo fed? Well, Zinzao was a bit unbalanced, you know, the spirit of China. But nevertheless, like these champs, like these zoo champs, like sometimes you play games, bro, you play games and you're like, what the fuck happened here? Especially in a world where there's so many comeback mechanics in the game, these zoo, animal, Mickey Mouse champs are going to be great. Nevertheless, if I'm going to be unbiased and rate the off seasons here of what will go down, I think, based off of the rumors, Fnatic is the winner. Why? Because YamatoCannon is confirmed, and that's just, you know, as an unbiased party here, okay, as an unbiased enjoyer of the ADC, I'd say that Fnatic has won the off-season, okay? So we put Fnatic in the first place. We're gonna put, you know, Vitality and G2. I think it's a toss-up, you know? In my mind, I put either second, and I could be fine with it. I could be fine with it. But I'm thinking like Vitality, G2, you know, both very dangerous teams. It's all about, you know, who are the engines? Who are the engines of the team? Who are going to define how this team is going to play? Who are going to be the big, most important voices in the game? And it's much easier for me to imagine G2 like Caps and Jankos being just that. But at the same time, you know, Perk self-made, maybe that's a relationship that's going to pop off and annihilate. But just because I've seen it before, it's much easier for me to imagine Caps Jankos, you know? I believe there's certain players in every team that is the driving force behind the success of a team. Like as we mentioned with Mad Lions, it was Humanoid, and it was Kaiser in my mind with Ilioya, and then in regards to for example Damwon very evident is Canyon, Showmaker, Battle, and then all the other pieces are just trying to uplift these other pieces and trying to kind of survive and not grief the game completely, right? But all in all, with G2, I would put them both second place, but let's just put like Vitality second, G2 third, fourth. I think you just have to go mad. You just have to put mad fourth. Like they still have Kaiser, Elioyo, Reeker, I think is interesting. I think you have to put them fourth. And then for everything else, honestly, everything else, who knows? Who knows, man? Everything else, who knows? Like everything else, who knows? Everything else, I think, can go however. Really. Everything else can go however. I could see a world where any of these teams place. Like if I'm going to think of it in the world of who has the potential to cause damage to the top four, there's nothing that really like appeases me, you know. I'm like having a little taste, you know. It's like, you know, when you're going to an ice cream shop, it's like, yeah, I would like to try the Mangolicious, Bubblicious, and then they give you a little spoon, and you're like taste it, and you're like, oh, I don't want this, you know. And you're certain right away. It's like there's no flavor here that is making me think like, ooh, I might just replace one of the other flavors that I have in my ice cream bowl, right? There's nothing there that is truly making me think, yo, I'm gonna replace the chocolate mint chip flavor. I'm gonna remove the stracciatella. No. There's no flavors in there, you know, that make me feel that way. So all in all, we put Fnatic. First place. Fnatic. Naturally. As an unbiased party. What is Stracciatella? Guys, tell him what Stracciatella is, please. Fnatic first. G2, honestly, I could see a world where they get second. I could see a world where they are second in the conversation for second, and then Vitality third. For me, whatever. You can put whatever you want. G2 second, Vitality third, Vitality second, G2 third. The world is your oyster. Mad Lions fourth, and then everybody else. But I think there's a clear disparity. And the beauty of it is we are currently in the off season. The game could change. The game could change so much that all of a sudden, maybe the Fnatic super team is not succeeding because YamatoCannon is just fucking is trolling. Okay? The point is that what I'm trying to say is, a lot of things can change. A lot of things can happen. This is only, initial interpretation, and I'm saying it with very imperfect information because some of these players, I haven't seen them play. But I'm excited nevertheless. This offseason has been very chaotic and crazy. I am happy for everyone involved that it's finally coming to an end, hopefully, as the contracts are being inked in and things are going to be, juicier and juicier. I guess the next point of conversation we could have is KCORP. KCORP. Cabo going to KCORP. It is very obvious that KCORP have really, really big plans. Really, really beautiful plans, The rumor has it that there's going to be an expansion in the LEC, right? And KCORP getting a player like Rekkles, bro, how could you? That is success. That is success. How on earth will you not be able to get your ass into the LEC with the big ass fan base like KCORP? Yo, the KCORP fans are mental, man. They are so damn good. They are so damn good. So good. The KCORP fans are crazy. It is truly bro, it's just fantastic. What Kamito has done, what KCORP has done, truly a blessing to the scene. I support anything that propels the scene forward, and KCORP is definitely a very positive force. And them signing Rekkles, imagine a world that there was two sides of the coin, right? If Rekkles was in a position where he stayed in G2, maybe he could put pressure on G2. Maybe it would be very strange, but I never ever would believe in a situation where he would be subbed in. He could make G2 really fucking uncomfortable. Financially and also, just publicly. It could have been very uncomfortable. But imagine if Rekkles would run out his contract, there was another 2 years on it. It's if you're in a position where you don't play for a whole year and then you don't play for another whole year, what's going to happen to you? That's kind of a death sentence in terms of career, right? So this move to KCORP, respect. I think you get to play, you get to showcase yourself. The viewership is going to be absolutely through the roof. I think this is a win-win situation for two people. It's going to be a win-win situation for two people. So Bjergsen is washed. No, the difference with Bjergsen is that he came off of no contract. The man has no contract. He finishes his time at TSM, no contract. Finito. Right? It's very different to stay on for another year and don't play and then be on contract still. That's the difference, right? I think this is a win-win situation considering the position that that they win. How can KCORP pay 1 million for Rekkles and also 1 mil salary? Bro, it's like you go to your sponsors and investors and it's like, yo, we can get this Martin Larsen guy who's pretty much been, you know, if we think of the faces of European League of Legends, his face has always been there. Right? So I'm sure there's a way to get the money, you know? Especially if you present it in a way, yo, we are going to fucking get this team to the LEC when they open up for more things. French fan will buy a Rekkles jersey for 1 mil actually? Maybe. They sold out their 1,000 shirts in 3 minutes Monday. Boom. Money. KCORP also is just, it's so evident to me that this is the type of team that can fucking capture lightning in a fucking bottle and use someone like Rekkles on your team and really like play it up big. You know, just explode with it. You know? They're gonna play the show match against Ibai. It's gonna be fucking hype, you know? It's gonna be sick. I think this is good, you know. In terms of the competition, it's gonna be like I think the key thing here is if KCORP don't get into the LEC, then it's rough. Then it's really rough, because that's the commitment Cabo and Rekkles are following along on, right? But I think, you know, KCORP is doing some good shit. I would be very fucking surprised if they don't. Unless, like, their whole operation is funded by, like, drug money. It's like Narcos Mexico. It's like Narcos Mexico is actually about KCORP. You know, if it's something, like, mental like that, I would be very surprised if it was the case, you know? It's like Camito is standing there. It's like Plato e Plomo, you know? It's just, yeah, then, but no, it's Chupa Chup money, you know? It's Chupa Chup money. It's Logitech money. It's all good. It's clean, I believe. I believe it's clean. But who knows? I don't know anything. Bro, I don't know how this year would play out, 2021. I didn't know how fucking 2020 would play out. Bro, when I was, like, 2020, I thought I was going to coach Vitality. I got fired. I went into off-season. I was like, okay, this is my time to freelance. I'm going to travel the world and do events and, like, maybe speak at universities. I'm going to keep myself busy. You know what God gave me? You know what happened? You know what happened, guys? COVID. Fucking COVID happened. And, you know, COVID has been hard for a lot of people. So, like, I'm not feeling pity for myself, but it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of funny. And then I was supposed to go over to North America, guys. I had my contract in hand. It would be LCS YamatoCannon. And then, you know what happened? Travel restrictions. Trump. Travel restrictions. I would have gone to North America to coach a good team. You know, don't worry. If I go to North America, it's to win. You know, it's to win. Don't worry. Because at the time, you know, the opportunities in Europe were slim. They, like, I was intrigued by some teams, but I was patient and I was ready to pounce. And then Trump, and we just knew mutually it didn't make sense because I had another opportunity lined up, and that was Sandbox. I came into Sandbox. And if someone told me at the beginning of December, it would be like, okay, so this is going to be your year, okay? You're going to go into freelance, and then you're going to regret it because COVID's going to hit. You're not going to be able to cast in front of fans or do analyst desk in front of fans. You're going to actually do it from home. You're going to sweat your balls off in your fucking apartment that you pay way too much for, that has no heating. You're going to sit there and sweat your balls off, right? And then after, in the off-season between spring and summer, you're going to ink a deal with a team that you would really want to join, and then the president of America is gonna clock block you. Because I was about to use that money to buy a new Rolly, but didn't happen. And then I went to Sandbox, and that was beautiful. I'm very happy with how everything played out because it gave me experience and the strength towards the next challenge that's coming my way. Because 2021 was as wild as the previous year, and I am happy that it is. I'm very happy that it is. Never a stale moment in esports, I tell you that, my friends. And now we're moving into the next year. The rumored Fnatic roster is gorgeous, but we'll talk about it more when everything is announced and everything is in the clear. Because obviously I have some words to say, but when the time is right, my friends. When the time is right. Lean Blaster 420. Thank you very much for your subscription. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bob the Flop, subscribing with his Prime. Can we get another subscription, please? Give me one more subscription, guys. One more sub. There we go.
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Gorgeous, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Burkrush. Thank you. Thank you. This applause for you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Truly appreciate it. Very, very nice of you guys to spend your beautiful money. I hope. I don't know. My camera is all fucked, man. Focus, camera. Focus.
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
All right. So what do we do now? Febby Twitter. Let's take a look at Febby Twitter. Let's remove this for now. Febby. I believe Fabianche is right. I don't think he's wrong. I do not think he's wrong. I wanted to show his tweet on the screen, but whatever. I'll just tell you guys what he tweeted. Your cam is blurry. I don't know how to fix it, man. Fuck it. Image. Browse. Desktop. There it is. Look at that, guys. Production. So for those only for using audio only, I'm just gonna read it up. Some LCS teams still building the worst possible rosters ever. Fire management already. Maybe then the league will get better competition. Ridiculous how so many people know are in charge of putting rosters together when they have absolutely no clues, good or not. This is why you keep failing, embarrassing the whole league as a whole. Now, the key thing is, right, is it might come off as bitter from Thabivan's point of view, right? Because the man is not in a team right now, but there is truth to it. There is truth to it, because in my mind, my mentality as a person. Let's try this. I'm gonna go real close to the camera. We'll just do the podcast like this from now on. Hey guys. So, what were we talking about? Boy, I have some dandruff, guys. Everyone always thinks that everyone thinks that I have blue eyes, but I have actually green eyes. My eyes are very green. The rarest of eye colors. Head and Shoulders sponsorship went Pog. That's true. Those eyes are gray. These are green, bro. This is money green. Money green indeed. So, back to what Fabian said. Well, I believe that there's going to come a point in time where now we're going to have more and more pro players move into coaching positions, and then those players are going to move into general management positions. Because I believe it's so important to have a very good eye for the game in order to make proper assessments. Because I think it's very common for GMs to act in the capacity of trusting other people based off of their assessment of players. And I think that never ever gives you the full context. Like maybe further down the line in 5-10 years, maybe you're going to see a GM YamatoCannon, right? Maybe that's going to happen. Maybe not. Who knows? Depends on how long League lives, right? Maybe the League MMO is going to take over my life and I'm going to live off of my crypto investments for the rest of eternity. And I'm going to stream it and I'm going to buy a nice fan so I can sit in my own sweat and enjoy it, you know? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Yamato colorblind, good to know. My friend, my eyes are green, but you have to keep in mind that this camera, like, look at the lighting, bro. Look at the lighting. Like, it's fucking, it's a little light in the sky. And I definitely believe, you know, that in any line of work, there's going to be the people that do the work on the ground that deserve most of the credit for the value something brings, right? Sometimes there's going to be an idea and that idea is being fulfilled by employees and then it goes like that. Let's take Amazon as an example. People are pissed off at Jeff Bezos, you know, that he's made a shit ton of money and he's enjoying himself, right? But the man had the idea and the audacity to think as big as he did. He's like, I'm going to take over the world and I'm going to shave my head and get jacked and then go to space, right? And in essence, that part of it is super, super important. Very important. Similar but in vain as well, people are going to look at the workers that, built everything up, that actually did the physical labor and did the work, and like now the Amazon delivery people and the conditions that they're living in. People are going to look at those people and be like, yo, these are the guys that are making it work, right? That is way too oversimplified, Yamato. But brother, I'm not even finished, and you're saying that what I'm saying is oversimplified, even though I haven't finished. So I'm spitballing just the analogy here, right? It's the same thing for League, right? You had the esports teams that were created, and then you had the leagues that were created, right? So Riot created the league systems, and then, yeah, of course, I know that Jeff Bezos didn't tell himself that. I'm just, I'm adding some humor to it. Adding some humor to it, just for the sake of storytelling, right? There was someone at a point in time that made esports teams, that made the league into an esport, that monetized it, and eventually, the idea is a very important part of that process, and the people that were willing to take a risk in order to establish esports teams. But in the end, as things carry on, the people that do the day-to-day work are so important. But always in any type of industry, if you have, like, if you are in a room and you're doing all the heavy work to push out the product, and then there's going to be a product manager above you that wants to take credit for it all. If things go well, it's like, yo, this is me, man. This is me. And there's going to be a guy above the product manager that's like, yo, I hired this product manager. I'm fucking sick. And there's going to be the CEO of the company. He's like, yo, this company was my idea and I'm funding it all. And I am fucking the sickest baller of all time. Right? But there's a chain reaction here that there comes a time with the people on the ground that are playing, that are working with the game. Those are the people that need to be valued and cherished. Right? And in any line of work, the same thing in esports. There's been many teams where I hear stories from other players where it's like, yo, we are busting our ass. It's like we are 3 players busting our ass. Our coaches are fucking useless. But the coaches are talking to the GMs, and the GMs want to take credit, and then the person above the GM wants to take credit. It's just a line of people wanting to take credit for what is going good, right? But for me, like, even as a coach, I truly value my players, Because at the end of the day, no matter what, like, I believe I'm in a position where I can affect everything, right? That's the only way to operate as a true competitor that works in a field where you have to make a group stronger. You have to take responsibility for every aspect of it. But at the end of the day, the actors, the people that are playing the game, hold the biggest responsibility, right? Because I can't really, I can't make a player play a certain way, right? I can't take over the mouse and just do it. So even from my side, I am very humble with taking credit. I never want to. I never want to take credit. Even though in my view, the only way to... What I expect from my players is that they take responsibility for fucking everything, right? Any aspect of performance and taking the group together is each person's responsibility in that room. When you begin to view it this way, you're going to begin to think about how you speak to your teammates, how you affect your teammates, how you can affect the environment. Basically, you need to commit yourself to something. It's the same, it's like your home, right? When you're trying to achieve something insane, you're trying to push yourself and you're trying to push a group upwards, you need to treat it as if it is your home. In your home, you care about the furniture you have. You care about how the walls look. You care about, cleaning up. You care about how every aspect of your home, how it flows together and how it is, right? That's very important. The same thing goes in a team environment. You begin to care about the details of what could actually make the team better. It's like, yo, the internet is quite bad. Maybe we can look into options. Even a player could say something like that. It's like, yo, we should probably think about different chairs. We can think about, different internet. Honestly, we should change the lighting in here. You can have ideas, and you can try to incorporate yourself in the process, right? And that's important. Maybe one player is having a hard time. How can you act towards him to lift him up and make him better, right? And that's how I view coaching. It's like my role is to make sure that everyone that is working in the team is enabled to be the best version of themselves. And that can look very different depending on the person that you're working with, right? But the point being is, there's always going to be people in many organizations. I'm not saying this is the case for everything, but in many organizations, they want to take credit, and then that credit, there's some person above them that wants to take credit, and it's just a pyramid. It's just a pyramid, but at the bottom, the people that are actively there and doing it are, on the front lines of making it work. And this is visible in many lines of work. Many lines of work. Even in the army, right? You could have a general leading his soldiers. That general, the soldiers, they are doing the shooting, they're doing the firing, and they're on the front lines, and then they're losing their life, they're spilling blood. The general is leading wars, and he's going to have songs sung about him, about how he has won so many wars, and then there's going to be a king above that general that is going to, or a president, or whatever the fuck, what kind of, I don't know, a fucking monarch, or a Kaiser, or an emperor, or whatever, a Tsar. Nevertheless, there's always going to be, someone at the top of the pyramid that wants to take credit for everything. But that person at the top of the pyramid is necessary for everything to begin. That's why I say, right, in the context of Jeff Bezos, the way he created Amazon, right, that there had to be a person at the top of the pyramid first for it to start. But then at the end of the day, everything, as things proceed, the bottom of the pyramid becomes more and more important. And there's always going to be, in these layers of this pyramid, this metaphorical pyramid, the importance goes deeper and deeper. The way he created Amazon was with parents' money, thievery, trickery, and rule breaking. Well, okay, I don't know too much about how Amazon was created. It's just that the context of how he's hated for what he has created, but Amazon it's a fucking monster, right? It's a monster of what it is, a monster of a company. But I don't know how we got here. The point is, I agree partially with Mr. Fabiven here. There's like for me, when a roster is being built, I think the intention should be, is there a world where this roster can be number one? Yes. If things go right, okay. If there's no chance in hell, what are you doing? What are you doing, brother? Is that a penis? Jiizuké tweet. Let's check the Jiizuké tweet. You mean this is what the real pizza looks like? Some teams are just built to make money, not necessarily win. COG may be profitable business with a good risk-return ratio that does not necessitate winning LCS. Well, as a competitor, I would never want to ever join a team with that mindset. And I'm not saying COG has that mindset. I'm just saying that's not me. Act like a waste man, that's not me. All right. Well, in my mind, I believe it is time for some League of Legends. I believe we've talked enough about the off-season. I have... another thing is, I believe something that I want to do is that I'm going to get in touch and be closer to all of the RL teams. Just because I have a couple of players that I consider close to, and I want to be able to say, yo, these 6 teams are looking for a mid laner. I'm going to hook you up with a tryout. And that's something that I want to be able to do because some players are not getting tryouts, and it's crazy to me. Korsk, thank you very much for your subscription. Appreciate it. Some players that I believe should be in teams are not getting into teams, and I believe as a voice in the scene, I have a responsibility to help the good guys, because I care for the well-being of players. I care for the well-being of players that can be fucking good. So the 2 players that I have in mind right now that I believe belong in teams is Peng and Galul. So Peng is someone that I work with, like not work with, but I've been talking to, like I've been using him for 1v1s and so forth. Player with good future. I think he has good potential. Galul, I was with him in Saudi Arabia, and this is a man that has figured out, you know, the challenges that he has been forced to go through in order to play as good as he does when he needs to play competitions and so forth. I believe there is so many players out there that would crack under that pressure. And I believe it's the same thing about a lot of Arabic players. But Galul, man, this one of my favorite guys that I've ever met, man. He has such a pure soul, and I believe this man has a lot of potential too. And I believe this is a player that also deserves tryouts. So I'm going to put effort to make sure that I'm in touch with the RL teams and understanding what is going on. Also, for the future of anything, just maybe there are players that should be going to LEC, and maybe I can help to do that. Galul is fucking good. Peng is fucking good, and these are 2 players that I believe deserve to play. Like these players are so fucking hungry to play, and I believe definitely that they should be able to. What about Dean, Mr. Cannon, boss champ? You know, Dean was playing top lane with me back then. He was doing GP. He was doing Ornn. It was funny, you know. Eventually, everyone started copying my drafts that I prepared for the tournament. People were just stealing Ornn away. Nah, I know Dean is doing well in the jungle, but Dean should come talk to me. If Dean, for some reason, hears this message, he should come talk to me. He owes me that. He owes me that. He needs to talk to me. If this message comes out to Dean somehow, Dean knows why he needs to talk to me. Fucking Hamza as well, man. Hamza, our jungler, he was like 1k LP jungle, and bro, he was studying to become a doctor at the same time. So 2023 Fnatic. 2023 Fnatic roster. Keen, Dean, Bean. And then in the support is Young Lean. And then we are sponsored by Michelin. Yes. Wakishi. And then when we're walking on stage, you know what song is playing? Jolene, 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 Jolene. Ben and Bean. Anyhow, I think this is a good place to stop the Voice of Yamato episode. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the sound effects. If they're just too annoying, I'm trying not to overuse them, which would kill them very fast. I'm trying to keep them rare. Let me know if there is any sound effect that you guys should think that I should add.
Oh fuck!
Because
I can't believe you've done this.
I don't know what to add. I have wow, I have bruh, and then I have
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
I have this one, and then I have clap. Add wipe whippo music. We can't have like a full song playing. Nevertheless, for those curious about Fnatic specific things, when the announcement's are out, then we can talk about it. Nevertheless, I am very excited. So, let's move into some motherfucking solo queue, my friends. Oh, baby, a triple. User disconnected from your channel. Yamato, you're the Zlatan of esports. Did they already say that? Maybe. Maybe I am. I love Zlatan. But I don't think it's fair for me to compare myself to him. He's a goddamn legend. Zlatan is the man. Zlatan has been such an inspiration to so many people. Like he's like the number one export of Sweden. ABBA, IKEA, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And the Nobel Prize. Alright, let's have a little snifferoni. What the fuck was that sound? Thank you very much for subscribing, Seeker1. I appreciate it. What is happening? Zamorak or Saradomin? Saradomin, my friend. Blitzcrank, Series 1, permanent. Honor 5, end of season capsule. Ooh, poggers in the chat. poggers in the chat, my friends. Poggers. Poggers. Alright. Let me just change. Oh shit. Oh, I'm getting hacked, guys. I'm getting hacked. Knock knock. Who's there? Me. I kill you. Yamato, she broke up because I entered her promo. What the fuck is this shit? Yeah, bro. Episode finished. Please check the VOD on YouTube. Will be up latest tomorrow. Big. Okay, I use all characters. Victorious Blitzcrank. New champion skin. New champion. I already own this champion. Clash tomorrow. Are you streaming? Maybe, maybe.